Hey everyone, what is going on? Welcome back to the 7th tier. My name is Brian, and this is a channel all about Four Roses. Now, in Louisville, as we're getting closer to the Kentucky Derby, I thought it would be appropriate to revisit some of the Kentucky Derby Festival single barrels. And earlier this week, I was downstairs and I decided to pour some of this 2019 OBSK. And it was delicious, spoiler alert. And I decided, let's go ahead and break it down in a video. Now, my last video was talking about an OESK recipe, different run, but I thought it would be interesting in this particular week. Now we'll talk about an OBSK. So we're talking about the higher rye recipe, see if maybe they have some similar flavor notes outside of that, but it does come from a different warehouse. We're looking at warehouse QN. This is barrel 77-2O. It is 11 years and 2 months, and it's going to come in at 52.9%. Let's go ahead and give that a look on the glass. Similar color to the last one, light, kind of golden honey color, nothing too wild. And on the nose, you definitely get a spicier, richer nose. Like, it doesn't burn really, but you get a little bit more rye spice. You get a little bit more perceived heat, as if it's going to be spicier on the palate. But the nose is really nice. It still has some citrus notes, some strawberry, some cherry notes. And then it has a lot of brown sugar, butterscotch, sweetness to boot. There's a little bit of leather in there. There's a little bit of oak in there, but it's mainly a little bit of citrus, a little bit of fruitiness that sits on top of this kind of desserty, cakey, brown sugar, butterscotchy like qualities. Let's go ahead and dive into the palate here. And the palate hits you rich and spicy right away. It is a lot more sticking and prickly on the palate. It's not a bad thing. It's just more intense than the OESK earlier this week that we took a look at. Lots of red fruit still and perfumey still, just like the OESK that we talked about. So there's this musty, dusty essence to it that is incredibly intriguing, met with that richness, met with these butterscotchy, dense, cakey, caramel, honey-like notes, and then trails with a long linger of oak. Combined with that is a beautiful thing. I don't know that there's another one that we've recently talked about on the channel, or another one that I can actually recently think about in my mind that has provided this kind of musty, dusty, fruity, oaky profile that kind of reminds me of old dusty whiskey. Now, this could be because I've had this bottle open for a little bit of time, and we won't get too deep about whether bottles are best when freshly opened or you let them open for a little bit. Different bottles act different ways. But the flavors that are in this, they kind of make me think of the profiles that I like about the 2019 LE, about Al Young, tapping into some of the funky, dusty notes while still having a ton of sweetness to them. It comes off a little bit more antique leather-like the longer you sit with it. That spice kind of mellows out and you just get richness on the palate met with a long lingering oak. Very complex, very nuanced, but super easy drinking, especially if you like that pocket of flavor. Perfuminess, a little bit of sweet fruits, but know that the fruitiness isn't necessarily going to be your focus. Moves into the butterscotchy, caramely notes with some well-oiled leather, oaky, dusty, funky flavors that linger for a long time on your palate. Again, it's easy, it's soft. It reminds me of the Al Young a lot in that regard. So this is a very, very enjoyable bottle. Again, that's the QN-77-2O. That was the Kentucky Derby Festival, one of the bottles for the Kentucky Derby Festival, OBSK. Usually Kroger's the ones who pick the ones for the Kentucky Derby Festival. So very, very enjoyable bottle. Let me know if you've tried this bottle. It's been a couple years, so maybe some other folks have had their hands on it, or if there's other OBSKs that you all have been interested in, or if there's other OBSKs that you all have tried, maybe some in this QN-77 run. I'd love to hear your all's feedback down below. If you have experience with other Four Roses bottles that came out for Kentucky Dairy Festival, leave me comments down below about those too. There'll be others I'll probably talk about on the channel in the upcoming future as we get closer to Derby. If there's other things you want to hear me talk about on the show, shoot me an email at the7thtier@gmail.com. Until next time, everybody, we'll see you all later.